I did it all for the money. When a player had to eat, that one a damn thing funny. Hey, I did it all for the money. Hey, I did it all before. Rob people so dope. Gang banging, shooting pistols, running from the dance folks. And I was known for eating anything your ass folks. Soft, hard, green, brown, niggas even had throat. Welcome to the Playing with the Church Money podcast. I'm your host, Brother Will. Today we're just going to get into a little bit of double standards in the politics in our city. And we just point out a few maybe mishandling, dropping of the ball. And let's just say maybe playing politics. We'll just throw that in there. We're going to go ahead and take some shots at the Attorney General or the State Auditor. So we're going to go ahead and take shots at the State Auditors in this particular segment on a few double standards here. So we're currently going through the indictment of Sheryl Williams Stapleton for misuse of funds, embezzlement. There's a laundry list of charges that she's charged with. Now, our previous mayor caused a whole lot. Our previous mayor and the governor. So we'll just go ahead and point that out. The governor, we'll start with the governor, Martinez, Susan Martinez, shut down all the mental health, all the local, all the in-state mental health agencies with the that particular state auditor who was there alleging fraud. Shut down many different health care providers that provided health services to different segments of the community, particularly low income, you could say, or just in general, people who just had health issues who needed caregivers and care coordinators and care services. Then you had what you ended up having was this big investigation holding these companies back, and a lot of these companies went out of business. There was an investigation, but while there was that investigation, you had these big companies, United Healthcare, DaVita, all these Blue Cross Blue Shield, all the big national health companies came in, took over all the business from the small guys, and kind of left it to where there was really no opportunity for them to come back. And it was just a real aggressive corporate takeover of the healthcare provider services in our state. And after the investigation, it was found that there was no fraud. So that was never, politicized. Things like that the state auditor should go after them for these allegations, as these smaller healthcare companies should have sued Susanna Martinez and that particular state auditor for that, and the state for allowing the corporate takeover of the healthcare system and putting them out of business. And then you had Mayor Barry's, these are was the Republican governor, and then you had the Republican mayor of the biggest city in the state, Mayor Richard Dick Barry, now Central Boulevard, I believe. So this man he shut down all these businesses for this construction, mind you, which it ends in the war zone, right in Louisiana and Central, right where the International District, the heart of the International District, it stops, and it does not go there because they don't want people to go, oh, look, the tourists mistakenly going through that section of town. Hell no. Anyway, back to the story. So he put together this art project, put a lot of local businesses out of business. So you had a lot of people during COVID where businesses were shut down and people were crying, and you had some of that energy with the Stop the Art and all that, but it was really politicized. So you had people that were real quiet on the issue, as far as the same people that are making noise about going out of business for COVID and so on and so forth. On the way out, he did not go for re-election. Strangely, he did not go for re-election, and there was some issues, some hiccups with the art project. He spent forgot how many millions on the first initial order of buses, and they were fake buses. They didn't work. So they had to send those back, get some real buses, and it was just a fiasco. So then, as you had some of the people from the Stop the Art and all this, the Albuquerque Rapid Transit to the Stop the Albuquerque Rapid Transit, they were doing these investigations. And during the investigation, it was found out that Mayor Barry was supposed to have this study, and they spent so many thousands or millions, whatever the number was, for this particular study. Now, after the investigation, this study was supposed to be a traffic study that gave details on passengership and the numbers and so on and so forth of the numbers that buses have with riders and fares and so on and so forth. The studies that you would need, the numbers that you would need to prove that this is a feasible investment for the city. Now, during the course of their investigation, they found out that this was a fake study, that the study was never ever actually done. So this is a fraud because this was something that was invoiced and paid for. So I don't know what they're gonna say. Oh well, he paid for it back. They paid it back, or whatever the case. Was it even resolved? Was it? Is it still going? Was it litigated? What was the issue, or did taxpayers just get ripped off for their money? So this is the difference. Like Barry, that's he kind of knew some of this stuff was gonna come out, and he hightailed it out of here because by that point everything was getting politicized. You know, you had Trump come in and raw dog. You know, he just mauled the Republican female governor and the top Republican male politician, you could say, who was in charge of the biggest city, was quiet as a church mouse. He did not want to say one word. And this is how they will do you women when you're in the Republican Party. This is how they'll do you. So, I mean, you'll go along for the ride until they need to throw you under the bus. And he was quiet as a church mouse. So as he saw this political atmosphere starting to bubble over, where it was getting so crazy that it was out of his control, because now people were really foaming at the mouth because Trump entered the picture. He realized these people are going to come after me. I need to get out of here. I need to, I don't need to run for election because all this is going to come out. And if this art thing it wasn't completed, so it took another mayor coming in and completing it. So he knew it was garbage and all that was going to come out, and so he decided not to go for re-election. In the middle of your project, your stamp on the city, you decide to quit. So it was just very interesting to me that they never went after him for fraud for that fake case study on the art project. Now, that's taxpayer money and that was squandered, and you can say embezzled, you can put it in whatever frame or form you want to put it in, but somebody invoiced for something just like that software invoice was fake, never was produced. This is the same thing. This is the exact same thing. This was a case study that was never produced to actually move forward with more to approve or continue the financing for the art project. So, big double standard. Big double standard. You have Sheryl Williams Stapleton dealing with what she's dealing with, but Mayor Barry gets to walk away scot free from all the BS. So, very interesting double standard. I remember Balderas, being a real aggressive attorney general going after these people, but I think you were the state auditor. I mean, you were the state auditor at that point, and then you became the attorney general. But when you were the state auditor, you were going after these people, but for some reason you didn't go after Barry. Wonder why. now you're going after Williams Stapleton. Well, it's not too late. I mean, fraud is fraud, and I don't think when you're committing those type of crimes, there's actually a statute of limitation, or is there? So let's talk about it. You know, he's only been out for less than 5 years. Sheryl Stapleton Williams embezzled this money over 5 years, so I think there's still room to go after the taxpayer money that was fraudulently invoiced for that fake case study for the art project. Just a double standard. Want to point out there. One of my favorite things to point out with the inconsistencies in the government here. So it doesn't matter if it's a Republican mayor, governor, or a Democrat mayor or governor. They're always going to do some BS that's going to squander taxpayer money. So let's be mindful. Let's put some pressure on Hector Balderas, Brian Colon, I think is the current auditor. Put some pressure on these guys. They need to go after Mayor Barry for this fraud, just like Sheryl Williams Stapleton. We need to see some indictments on that. The investigation was already done on that. So we need to see some work. We need to see y'all do what taxpayers pay y'all to do. So let's just stay focused, man. Just putting that out there, pointing out the double standards in the government in our city, in our state, and how it operates. Just pointing things out. Sometimes things get overlooked, but in hindsight, that wasn't that long ago, and this Sheryl Stapleton Williams is current. So it's it's relevant. So wanted to put that out there. See what y'all think. Let's get some pressure. Let's bring it up to these politicians. See what's the difference. Why is there a double standard? Why aren't they doing the job that we're paying them to do with taxpayer money? And that goes to the auditor and the attorney general. And on that note, man, y'all stay blessed. Stop playing with the church money.
Hey, I did it all for the money. Hey, I did it all for the money. When a player had to eat, that one a damn thing funny. Hey, I did it all for the money. Hey, I did it all before. Rob people, sold dope, gang banging, shooting pistols, running from the dance folks. And I was known for getting anything you asked for. Soft hard.